nice to have you be part of our show today. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We'll be starting off today with our newspaper headlines, and right after that, this morning would be our main conversation also for today. But please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us via Zoom, Mr. Obeoluwa Taiwo. He is the Executive Director, Africa Bridge Initiative from Lagos, Nigeria, and equally a HR and P media consultant. Good morning to you, Mr. Obeoluwa.
Good morning, Henry.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much. And how has been the holidays with you?
Yeah, we're enjoying the holiday and happy Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. We look forward to the bigger celebration where we'll kill ram and eat ram.
Of course, very true. Where we kill the ram and the cows and have ourselves a very nice time. All right, so let's, of course, do what we know how to do best. Holidays or not, it's our responsibility and our duty to inform the public on the things that are very trendy and equally very important. From the Guardian newspaper here, we have the big story here, fresh setback for AFCFTA and ECOWAS protocols over tariff by Sahel states. And also on the bottom of that particular story, we have Edo killing, Kano government, NBA insists on compensation amid fears of a reprisal. Mr. Taiwo, I'd love you to take on this particular matter. As much as we condemn the gruesome murder of those hunters, there has been lots of twist on that particular matter. Nigerians have said, how would persons all the way from the north come to the south for hunting? They've questioned the rifle, the then guns, they said, which the government had said it was registered abruptly. But Nigerians are speaking on the issue where herdsmen have terrorized communities without the government saying anything about it. Why then is it that with this gruesome killing, which of course we do condemn, government have started becoming sensitive about this matter and forgetting about what has been happening in the past? Lots of people have no villages now because such villages have been overrun by herdsmen. What is your take on that? All right, I think we have a little bit of a technical glitch there from the end of Mr. Taiwo. I guess he will be right back in a jiffy. Since it's still Enterprise Morning, please don't go anywhere.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Mr. Taiwo, I wanted to ask you, from the Guardian newspaper for today, we have one of the big stories here. Edo killing, Kano government, NBA insists on compensation amid fears of reprisal attacks. Lots of Nigerians have questioned how that hunters would leave the northern part of Nigeria to the south just for hunting. And equally, the government had abruptly come up with the fact that those guns they found with the hunters were licensed. Nigerians would wonder when and how was it licensed. But as much as we condemn the gruesome killing of those hunters, Nigerians have equally questioned why the government is swift to taking care of this particular situation while communities have been ravaged. There are villages right now that do not exist because of herdsmen. So tell me, what do you think is it's happening now?
All right, thank you for that question. Nigeria, as of today, is having different challenges, from economic challenges to security challenges to poverty challenges, among other challenges. Now, first and foremost, we must understand that hunting in any part of Nigeria has no restriction. Hunting has no restriction. And there are different layers to hunting. Hunters within Nigeria. But however, just like we have on the ocean, there are permissions that needs to be granted for such movements based on internal security arrangements. All right. So we have in the olden days whereby some of our hunters will move from Lagos into Oyo State. Some even move into Ondo State. And thereby, till today, those places has become their ancestral homes as a result of the movement of those hunters who are now known to be what? Dwellers. So most of the dwellers in the Southwest came as a result of hunting. So we can see that there are a lot of historical background to hunting in Nigeria. But in as much as that, we must also understand the peculiarity of 21st century of civilization, peculiarity of our security challenges require some form of what? Identification from one community to another community, from one city to another city. So we must understand and have that conviction. Number one, hunters has no restriction. All right? So that has been established. So number two, when we talk about killings, there are different reasons for killings. It can be assassination, it can be political killings, it can even be for economic reasons. So, you know, for the citizen to be crying that how come suddenly the government is having a swift reaction to the killings of the hunters, for me is a sentiment on its own, because if you allow the killings of hunters to continue or you leave the action, it might degenerate into what we call communal clashes.
But Mr. Taiwo, you would of course reason with the fact that there are communities in the southwest of Nigeria, although there are the middle belt, there are communities, villages in Benue, in Plateau State that have been taken over by marauders in the name of trying to do business. And my question is, do you think that is permissible in today's Nigeria in the cause of preaching peace for this country?
Now, when we talk about states or community being taken over, one thing you must understand that there are different types of taking overs. I've said this before. There is no invasion in any part of Nigeria without the permission of the people. No invasion can successfully take place in any part of Nigeria without the permission of the people.
Please, can you explain further? Because we need to understand how the people are involved in the taking over of the ancestral rulers. Yes.
Where are the traditional rulers? What is happening to the kings? What is happening to the royal fathers? Where are the community leaders? These are the gatekeepers of those communities. So a man in Abuja cannot secure Oshogbo for you. It's not possible. A man in Abuja cannot secure Ikene for you. It's not possible. A man in Abuja cannot secure even Abaji village, not to talk of securing a village in Jigawa. So what does that mean? Communities permitted those takeovers. And I've always said that whenever communities are ready, all of these bandits will stop.
So don't you think that is what the community is?
Nobody, no stranger can.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. So don't you think that was what the vigilantes, who are the security operatives in Uromi, that's what they have been doing all this while to ensure that people do not come and take over the community that led to what we are talking about today?
Now that is taking us to another conversation already. All right. So what does that mean? The 2 + 2 is adding up. So they are trying to be self-defense. And that self-defense is taken to be a jungle justice. So, and that is why I said from the beginning that each of those hunters must be properly identified. If not, this particular case will continue. There must be permission. Permission must be granted because Nigeria is evolving because of our security challenges and peculiarities. So the same hunting process of 19th century cannot take place anymore. But in as much as we are preaching that, jungle justice must not be permitted going forward. Thank you.
Very, very well. Jungle justice must not be allowed to continue. Lots of pundits have concluded that the absence of the rule of law gives birth to jungle justice like we have seen today in the country. And some others have equally concluded that at a time when we're trying to save our planet, save endangered species, why would we even have hunting in the first place? And that is archaic. Lots of people would say that. But let's take a look at what's happening with the Punch newspaper for today. Idil Fitr, low-key celebration as Nigerians lament hardship. Traders lament low patronage, citizens court cost. The PDP blames APC for economic woes. Mr. Taiwo, I know you are a very interested enthusiast of the APC, if I'm still correct with that fact. Do you still see the hands of the APC to the hardship in Nigeria today?
Now, when we talk about multi-dimensional poverty in Nigeria, I've said this times in that number. Poverty has no coloration. I'm surprised that PDP is still blaming APC for the poverty challenges of Nigeria. Now, one thing is in common. Nigeria is our country, isn't it? And this is our land. When there are crises, our job is to come together to bring a solution to the problem of Nigeria, not looking for who to blame. All right? So in as much as PDP has spent 16 years and are now giving us, when we talk about poverty, there are foundations to every layers of poverty. Take, for instance, talking about food commodities in Nigeria. Look at what Akinwumi Adesina, the current African Development Bank president, did when he was Minister of Agriculture. How many of our leaders were able to build upon the foundation he laid in the Ministry of Agriculture? So it's not about a political party. It's about all of us. Now, are you also aware that this inflation is affecting the consumer price index? And this consumer price index also is as a result of what? Artificial inflation. So what do we mean by artificial inflation?
Which is caused by what exactly? Artificial inflation, which is caused by what exactly?
Right, that's where I'm going. This particular artificial inflation is caused by you and I, not by the government.
Wow.
It's caused by you and I. Now, what does that mean? When a man purchases a commodity from Benue, in terms of yam, for instance, or from Abuja, or from any part of the country, what is the cost of transportation? What is the logistics incurred between 1 day or 2 days? Now, how much am I expected to put in on my commodity in order to have what? Even profits on my products. So when I have too much of what? Influence on the products as a result of the fact that there's poverty in the land, that is artificial inflation.
But Mr. Taiwo, don't you think, sorry for interjecting, don't you think that is what capitalism is, what it means there? But at the same time, we have seen capitalist societies where the inflation is not as much as what we see today in Nigeria.
That is where you are actually speaking what I'm driving at. What I'm driving at is that, in fact, are you aware that the last economic meltdown the global meltdown of economy in the global village. Are you aware that Nigeria was supposed to be exempted from that meltdown, especially in terms of food commodity? But because we do not pay attention to our community, we do not pay attention to who we are as a people. Take, for instance, let me give a typical example I have given before. Let me give you that example. Take, for instance, every state in Nigeria has peculiarity in terms of agricultural products. But where are these products? Each of our farmland has been exchanged for real estate. Instead of farmland, we are exchanging it for real estate. And I've said this in number. Nigeria is not Dubai. Having 30-story building in Kogi State will not bring food to our table. Having 30-story building in Kano State will not give us adequate food supply. It will only bring inflation to us, and that is what we are experiencing. So let's go back to our roots as a Nigerian. What is our roots? Our roots is what? Agriculture. Agriculture will feed Nigeria. Agriculture will feed Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Agriculture would feed Africa. Lots of people would equally, draw that sword against the government because of the policies that they put in place that had made it very difficult for farmers to go to the farm. Right now, because of the insurgency happening in the food baskets of the country, like Benue, Plateau, and other parts of the country where farmers cannot locate their farms any longer. Don't you think that is equally some of the big reasons that only the government can take care of before we even think of questioning ourselves? Don't you think so, Mr. Taiwo?
Now, I'm not too comfortable with that submission, because government will not do everything for you. Before the crisis began in Benue, in Northeast, in North Central, what has been happening to the Southwest? Where are the agricultural farmland in the Southwest? Before the invasion of bandits, where are the agricultural farmland? Are you aware that, take for instance, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, recently now we can see that in the last 20 years, has been turned to a real estate community. That is an economic misfortune in advance. Those land are not meant for real estate. Those land are meant for agriculture. But because of our taste of capitalism, like you said, we have turned everywhere to real estate, to a real estate community or city, and we are suffering it. And we're not blaming the government. Is it the government that is selling the land? That is the question. Is it government that is selling the land? You know, when we sit at our comfort zone and we are arrogating powers that does not belong to government, then we are putting ourselves in jeopardy. Government will not give us everything that is needed. We must understand our peculiarities. Our peculiarity will define who we are as a people. When we understand who we are, then we can stand even in spite of any. Okay, look at the Lagos Coast Highway, Lagos Calabar Coast Highway. How come some communities are rejecting the project? Because they know it's going to affect their farmland. That is what we're talking about. Let's defend our communities. Let's defend our farmland. Let the youth go back to the farmland. Then food supply will be adequate in Nigeria going forward.
Very, very true. All right, so let's, just before I let you leave on this particular segment, let's take a look at Vanguard newspaper for today. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger imposed 0.5% levy on goods from Nigeria. Others, ECOWAS countries. Mr. Taiwo, this seems like what you would love, isn't it? These three Sahel countries have taken over their own thing for themselves. They don't want to depend on anybody any longer. Would you ever have believed? Yes, would you ever have believed that three countries would levy Nigeria 0.5% on products coming in to their countries?
What when you refuse to do what you're supposed to do, others will do it for you at your own expense. It's as simple as that. What economic decision we are supposed to take, we refuse to take it. Then our brothers in the West African countries are taking over. They're taking over. They're taking advantage of us because they know that an average food supply is coming through their route into Nigeria from Europe, through different West African countries into Nigeria. So what does that mean? They are tightening up the economy. We are the giant of Africa, but we are not taking advantage of our position. So others are taking the advantage of us, and that is where we are as of today. Let's take our stand to know who we are as a people.
But
when we take a stand, how come Israel is being developed through agriculture in spite of the kind of land that they have? Because they know that the peculiarity of their country, they must define who they are by the food supply they create for themselves. As of today, I can tell you authoritatively that Nigeria government and Nigerian people, we are not serious about our own food supply. Until we are serious, then we can get it right. Let's go back to our farmland. That is my take on that.
very, very true. Let's go back to our farmlands, because one would wonder how states like Niger State, as big as Niger State, is well enough to feed the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, just Niger State alone. But neither do we so concerned about it, or would we even want to do something to change that narrative and make things better? But that's just about the time we have for today. I'd love to say thank you so very much, Mr. Oluwataiwo, for taking us on this particular matter, and just to let you know that he will be around to take us on our main conversation when we return. Rivers Politics. Edison here alleges a 5 billion naira bribe to impeach Fubara. That in the beat. Please don't go anywhere.